Hello, my friend, and welcome to this study. Look what I have to show you today. These are some photocopies of pages from a manuscript that was made in the early 15th century in a region of the Alsace. This is a region around Heidelberg, Strasbourg, and Colmar along the Upper Rhine River, where many manuscripts originated in the Middle Ages. Today's story takes us back through the university towns, libraries, and workshops of the 14th and 15th centuries. Heidelberg, May 22nd, 1693. French troops lock a large crowd in the Church of the Holy Spirit and set fire to it. The roof burned, and the great octagonal sandstone columns glowed with the reflection of the flames as bells, beams, and parts of the vault collapsed, destroying the roof and Gothic tower, as well as the tombs of the great kings long dead. The young Reformed pastor Johann Daniel Schmidtmann pleaded, and finally a door was opened. The people inside rushed out of the inferno, but many were crushed by the falling roof and supports, and still others were molested by the French soldiers who looted the church. To the survivors, this scene must have been a cruel reminder of the stories told by their parents and grandparents, for it was not the first time in recent memory that Heidelberg had been sacked. In 1648, the Elector Palatine, Karl Ludwig, arranged the marriage of his daughter, Lieselotte, to Philip I, Duke of Orléans, brother of Louis XIV of France. Then, in 1685, after the death of Karl Ludwig's son, Elector Charles II, King Louis XIV laid claim to his sister-in-law's inheritance, the Rhineland-Palatinate, or the Rhineland-Pfalz. The Germans rejected the claim, in part because of religious differences between local Protestants and French Catholics, the Reformation having so divided Europe, and the War of the Grand Alliance, or the Palatinate War of Succession, ensued. In 1689, French troops took the town and castle, bringing nearly total destruction to the area. The greatest prize of all, however, that the victor of the siege could gain from the looting of Heidelberg was the collections in its fabled library, the Biblioteca Palatina, assembled from some of the most prolific collectors, nobles and clerical alike, over the years, to form a fountain of knowledge and preserve these works for students who came there. It began when the 15th century German Elector Palatine, or Kurfürst Ludwig III, who was highly educated and was a passionate collector of valuable manuscripts, had an idea. Theology, philosophy, and law were particularly important to him, and he saw that these facilities were well supported at the University of Heidelberg. In 1413, he completed the renovation and transformation of the Heilige Geistkirche, the Church of the Holy Spirit, begun by his father, into a collegiate foundation for 14 members of the university. In 1421, he bequeathed his own books to the university for students to use freely. By the 1430s, Ludwig had founded the Stiftsbibliothek in the Heilige Geistkirche, which he had arranged to have good light for reading. This became the Bibliotheca Palatina, the library of the Palatinate, the most important library of the German Renaissance, containing at its peak approximately 5,000 printed books and 3,524 manuscripts. The Biblioteca Palatina was a prominent prize captured during the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, taken as booty by Maximilian of Bavaria and given to the Pope in a symbolic and political gesture. 54 ox carts filled with crates of books were taken to Rome from the Church of the Holy Spirit. These now form the Biblioteca Palatina section of the Vatican Library. The Palatinate suffered heavily in the 30 Years' War, and in 1622 Heidelberg was sacked by the Catholic League, whose general, Count von Tilly, was in the employ of Maximilian of Bavaria, and the occupiers jostled for control of the fabled library. The victors were not merely carrying away the collection, stripping the Calvinist party of one of its most important intellectual symbols. They also wanted to eliminate all documentation of the library's provenance in an act of looting that set the tone for further acts between belligerents, contributing to the decimation of those cities and lands that were the stage of the 30 Years' War. Maximilian wanted to add the Bibliotheca Palatina to his own library in Munich. King Ferdinand II of Bohemia, Holy Roman Emperor, also sought it, sending counter-instructions to Tilly to keep it for his own collection in Vienna. Many books were torn apart or dispersed among private hands during the sack, and Pope Gregory XV convinced Maximilian to present the remaining manuscripts to the Vatican as a sign of his loyalty and to support his claim to the Palatinate's electoral title. The Greek scholar Leo Alatius was sent to Heidelberg by the Vatican to supervise preparations to transport the collection to Rome. By 1623, the entire remaining library had been incorporated into the Biblioteca Apostolica Vaticana, with each volume preserving as a memorial a leaf with the Wittelsbach arms. In the Treaty of Tolentino in 1797, the Pope ceded 37 of these manuscripts to the French Republic, and they were deposited in the Bibliothèque Nationale. When the Congress of Vienna in 1814 to 1815 decreed the general restoration or return of works of art of which the French had robbed other countries, the manuscripts were conveyed from Paris to Heidelberg rather than to Rome. In 1816, Prince Hardenberg and Ignaz Heinrich von Wessenberg persuaded Pope Pius VII to make a gift of 852 manuscripts, mostly in German, to the University of Heidelberg. The bulk of the original collection, however, remains today an integral part of the Biblioteca Apostolica Vaticana at the Vatican, including the prized Carolingian Losch Evangelii, the Falkenbuch de Arte Venandi cum Avibus, commissioned by Frederick II, and the marvellously illustrated Codex Manesse. Both libraries have digitized their prize manuscripts and have made them available in digital edition for anyone wishing to view them today. One of these manuscripts, housed at the University of Heidelberg, is the Middle High German story of King Ortnit and the knight Wolf Dietrich, who slew dragons. It was produced on paper by a workshop of scribes and illustrators. For their story, we have a special collaboration between the study and NathanASMR, and you can go to that channel with the link in the description below to see the story about the scribes and illustrators of the Alsace workshop and their beautiful manuscripts. Well, my friend, I'll see you there.